Congratulations to everybody, of course. Happy to be here with you with this incredible team. I'm recalling our movie about Apollo 11, and the colleagues of the crew called them friendly strangers. That means that they came together by some accident or reshuffle or swap between crews. And they were not really friends, but they perfectly worked together. Who are you to each other?
Friends.
Yeah, we've worked
Friends.
together quite a while now, and we're not strangers at all. A lot of trust has already been developed amongst this crew. We're just getting started.
Absolutely. And there's a different history for all of us. Victor is one of my crewmates in terms of our class of astronauts. I've worked with Reed as a leader, and he was one of my leaders, and been flying with Jeremy, and he's been a class leader for future astronaut candidates. So we all have a special relationship.
Honestly speaking, if you ask general public today, they would hardly remember names of the guys who preceded Aldrin and Armstrong, even if they flew around the moon months before. Was anybody of you a little disappointed, saying, hey, I would rather prefer to be in Artemis 3 than Artemis 3?
No. This is an amazing opportunity, and it's an amazing time in history. We're sending people to the moon. I mean, getting people to the moon and back is a significant thing, and it's something we should celebrate. And when we announce the Artemis 3 crew or the Artemis 4 crew, we'll be excited for that too. But this is a great time, and yeah, the flight rate is pretty low, and none of us will fly another Artemis mission likely, but it'll still be something to celebrate. And I'm just happy for our agencies and our countries that we get to be a part of this time right now.
You've had experience with many hardware, like from shuttle to Soyuz and Crew Dragon. Have you already started new training, and how is it different?
No, we start training in June. The actual training will start in June.
But just being astronauts here, working at the Johnson Space Center, we at least have a basic understanding of Space Launch System, Orion spacecraft, the European Service Module. So we know the fundamental hardware, but we haven't started training. We don't know the innards of the machine yet.
How much of a control you're going to have during the flight? Because sometimes people say, hey, they just watch the monitors and the computer does the rest of it.
So that'll be a really great part of Artemis 2 for us. The whole intention of our mission is not to be Artemis 2 focused, but to focus on the Artemis program to prepare this vehicle for the next crews that are going to assemble Gateway, land on the lunar surface. So a big part of that is on Artemis 1, fully autonomous mission. Mission control was operating the spacecraft from Houston. So on Artemis 2, we are going to take all of that into the crew's hands and make sure all the backup systems, the manual systems, work the way they should. So if we ever have an anomaly on future Artemis missions, we already know the crew knows how to maneuver the vehicle. They know how to work the communication systems, pointing, get the optical comm system up and running. We know how to configure the cabin. So this will actually be a fairly manual hands-on flight.
Why don't you just jump there and land? Because Artemis 1 was a success. What's the problem?
You need a lander.
It is not ready?
No, it's not ready.
I've heard that the SpaceX will somehow involved in future missions. What exactly is going to be? It's not going to be an Orion like we know it anymore.
Yeah, so the Orion capsule is how the humans will get off the planet, get to lunar orbit, and get back to Earth. And that's the part we'll test on this mission. But the lander will be built by SpaceX. Starship is at least one of the landers that the United States is going to build, and that is what will take humans back down from lunar orbit to the surface of the moon.
Is it going to be something fancy with those legs deploying?
Absolutely. It's SpaceX.
It's going to be made by SpaceX. It's going to look good.
I think, Victor, you yesterday had this wonderful metaphor about space race. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon, even a relay. Is that how you see your mission now?
Oh, absolutely. And the part of that metaphor that I like the most is that you pass a baton hand to hand. You know, вручную in Russian, it's by hand. And that's beautiful from cruise to cruise, from generation to generation. And, you know, it also is a reminder that this is just a moment in time. You know, you want to interview us now, but once Artemis 3 is assigned, it'll be about them, and we will be completely focused on their step in this journey. Because again, the big picture, that message was wrapped in, this is a moment in time. The big picture is getting humans to Mars.
Do you see any big competition in the future, and from what side? From private companies, from other nations? What do you think?
when I think about how we cooperate with both other nations and companies, the word competition doesn't come to mind, but the word cooperation does. One of NASA's missions, stated missions, is actually enabling a space economy. And every time we do something, we enable a market, we create a market. Every time we take something that has never been done before and show that it is not only doable, but that there could be a market around it, that is a success for NASA.
Speaking about history, the Apollo program, despite the fact that there were many hardware already completed, people trained and ready to fly, it was just finished abruptly. Aren't you afraid it might be something like that due to economy, policy, whatever?
It's always easy to be afraid, but you just got to work on what you're working on right now. And the concept is that understand. And what I've seen in the space program is, our culture is to never give up, to never quit. We know we're going to run into challenges, but we're just going to keep going.
I've seen a lot of your colleagues yesterday, a huge group of other pool of astronauts. Are they going to be targeted on this Moon and Mars exploration, on this wider pool for ISS and stuff like that?
We have this interesting point right now where we are going to fly the International Space Station through 2030, and then we're going to start going to commercial low Earth orbit destinations. So we're bringing private industry into the low Earth orbit marketplace, which is fantastic. And at the same time, so we have astronauts, cosmonauts, going to International Space Station. We also now have 4 astronauts on the Artemis program, and the Artemis 3 crew assignment is not too far in the distant future. So it is a pretty neat time when we're not only targeting low Earth orbit, but we're also targeting deep space simultaneously.
Maybe a little insight. How actually you were picked for this mission? Do you know the details? Did they throw the dice, or how did it work?
There's a dartboard, and they just threw darts, and that's how it worked out. I think they were really looking for people that could understand that Artemis 2 is a small piece in the larger Artemis program. We know a large part of this mission is going to be deeply technical, but another part of this is going to be public engagements, going out and motivating our entire world really for deep space human exploration. And I think both of those had a large contributing factor.
I believe this is Colonel Hatfield in his Facebook said, "What a crew, but what a danger," something like that. Do you feel that it might be dangerous, or it's just within normal margin of any flight?
Every mission is dangerous. That's a part of the risk, but NASA has a great process, and our industry and international partners have great processes for analyzing that risk, understanding it, and then making risk-informed decisions. And so, yes, we've got training, we've got evaluations to do, but we've got this amazing team that we're going to be working with, and when they're ready, and when our training is ready, and when the vehicles are ready, we'll go.
This is going to be really time of the first woman to fly beyond the low Earth orbit, first African American, first Canadian. Some people even criticize that it might be done despite the professional qualities should be number first, and they put this political message number one. What do you think about that?
I would challenge anyone to look at this crew and say that anything was done due to race or gender. Right now we have over 40 active astronauts in the NASA Astronaut Corps. You could go over and scoop up any 4 of them and throw them into this mission, and you would have an absolutely fantastic crew that is ready to go execute the mission. We are lucky to be here at a time when it matters to be inclusive. It matters for every kid to look at our NASA poster and see themselves projected in the future. And we have an amazing team that is ready to go get this done.
Good luck to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.